Thank you very much, everyone, for attending my talk today. I'm very honored to see all of you, and I'm very happy, I'm very glad that many people, many staff, teachers, or even students, right, want to take this test, want to take the IELTS, because I think it's quite a useful test, right? If you can get the score according to the requirement, you will have a lot of benefit, right? For example, you can be a teacher or you can work in any high-ranking positions. So that's one reason I choose to talk about IELTS. And not only about the job, it's also about positive watch back. Maybe you don't know the word watch back. This word, it means the effect of the test. If you take the IELTS and even though you get like 5.5, your ability in English can improve a lot. You can do a lot of things, right? You can understand when you listen. You can write some sentences or even write a research paper. So that's why I think the test is useful. When we study for the test, we will not get only the test result, but we will get your ability, get competency for doing a lot of things that needs English language. So that's why I decided to talk about this test. When we come back to this university, okay, if you want to be a teacher, right, if you want to work as a teacher here, you will have to submit test scores. And one of the options is IELTS, right? If you just get like 6, you can teach in a regular curriculum, right? If you have a master degree and you get like 5, so I think, yeah, you can work as a teacher too. But for master degree, you may earn a little bit, right? Not as high as PhD or doctoral degree, right? And if you want to teach in the international program, you have to get like 6.5. Okay, let me ask, who has taken the test before? Did you take the test? Not yet, right? Okay. Maybe if you can work here, maybe you took some other tests, right? Because at least you will have to pass some tests. Not only for work, but if you want to continue education, mainly in Australia and in England, right? You can submit the IELTS. And you can see here too that this is the University of New South Wales. And if you want to study art or design, you will have to get at least like 6.5. And if you want to study like environment or maybe some science, right, you have to get like 7. For postgraduate, you have to get like 7. So mainly, taking the IELTS is for going to study abroad, going to study in England and and Australia. But in America, some university accept IELTS too. Okay. So I think it's very useful. You can use not only in Thailand but around the world. However, do you know how much it costs to take this test? I took it like about 1.5 years ago. I took the paper base. It costed me 6,700. Okay, almost 7,000 baht, right? So that's very expensive. But it can be used for 2 years. It can last 2 years and then you can apply. For example, if you want to study chemistry in Manchester, you can get 6, but on every part, reading, writing, listening, speaking, you must get at least 5.5. If any part is less than 5.5, you cannot use that score. Classic is like language. You have to get like 7 in order to read literature, to read language that is very difficult. All right, and that is only some of the benefits of having IELTS score. And this is a test format. When you enter the test room, okay, usually before you can enter the room, you will have to be searched. The proctor will bring, it's called a weapon detector, to scan you. Okay, you cannot bring in the phone, you cannot bring in some metal, even like watches or glasses. They will be checked in case someone use smart glasses, right? Smart watches. So it takes like hours before everyone can get into the room and take a test. When you get into the test room, you take listening first. Okay, it will be like 30 minutes. There are 40 items. And for IELTS, you will have to write. Okay, in the TOEFL, when you listen, you click, right? Because it is internet based. You click and you drag and drop. But for the IELTS, you have to spell. I think it has a computer base too. It's called computer delivered test. On that computer test, you have to type. If you don't spell it correctly, you will lose points. Okay? You will not get a score. After listening, you will have a chance to read. Okay? And then after that is writing. So today I will talk about writing. Okay? For these skills, it takes quite a lot of time. I mean, you have to spend years listening practice, you know. So for this, it's not easy, but we can train. Okay? We can get to know and then try to be familiar with. And when we take this in the morning, in the afternoon, we have to speak. I went to IDP at CP Tower in Silom, and I wait for my turn. And when I get a chance, I have to speak like 10 minutes. Okay, at least 11, but I think it's about that, about 10 to 11. And it's not easy. There's a lot of questions, and sometimes we have to speak like 2 minutes without stopping. Okay, and I think people who get this one pass, they must be very, very good, because in speaking, you never know the question, right? And then you have to think, you have to brainstorm at that moment. Okay, so that is the test, the format. For this part, it is called general training. For general training, it is for people who have a family. If you have husband or wife in Australia or in England, and you want to live there, you want to get visa, the embassy will require you to take IELTS. If your English ability is too poor, you cannot pass. Maybe your visa will not be given to you. Okay, you may be denied. So I think for us, we just take academic. Okay, most of us will go to study or will use it for work in Thailand. Right? When you get to the writing part, you will have a chance to see this picture. Sometimes there's only one, like pie chart, table, line graph, and you have one, and you will have to write 150 words to describe the line chart, the line graph. And sometimes it's difficult, you may get 2 of them. Okay. And in case you get 2, you will have to match or compare between this picture and then write 150 words. Okay. I think it's not too difficult. There are some patterns, some words we can use, because mainly we use the word like more than, less than, higher than, something like that. And I think it takes a few months and then you can write it. Alright, and now let's get to see descriptor. Descriptor means the rubric that will be used to judge your writing. Okay, I cut only band 7 to band 9. Band 9 it's like total score. Band 8 it's like almost total, right? I got 7. Okay, when I took the test I got band 7. I think I did not prepare much because actually I used to work in a university in Bangkok, and that university specified me to take the IELTS, because if I want to tutor people about IELTS, I have to take the test and then get the score to show to the administrator. And then I did not prepare, and then I just apply. So I got 7. That's quite good, right? I mean, there are some parts that I did not enjoy doing it too. However, I was lucky enough. And here, if you want to have 7, you need to cover requirement of the task. From here, it's called task achievement, right? For the task achievement, you will have to read first. Okay, let me show you. Here, there's a requirement. Summarize information by selecting and reporting the main feature and make comparison where relevant. If you don't do this, it means that you did not achieve the task. Okay? So your score will be lower. But if you cover requirement, okay, you get 7. If you cover all requirements sufficiently, you get higher, you get 8. Alright? You see, present a clear overview of the trends, differences, and stages. I mean, in case it is a diagram, you must write stage 1, stage 2, something like that. And for the general training, you may write a letter. Okay, it's not about graph, and you must follow that too. So task achievement, make sure that you read the direction carefully. And then coherence and cohesion. This means that you need to organize information and ideas very clearly. There is a clear progress throughout. You may use like first, second, third. Use a connector or markers like in addition, however, something like that. And if you use and it is coherent and cohesive, yeah, you get 7. But if you do it better, right? Sequence information and ideas logically, manages all aspects of cohesion well, paraphrasing sufficiently and appropriately. Paragraphing. Paragraphing means that you have to separate between each idea that you want to write. You don't mix them together. Okay. There are 2 more. Lexical resources. Lexical resource means that you use vocabulary. Okay. Sufficient range of vocabulary to allow some flexibility and precision. Precision means that it is direct to the meaning. For example, if you see that the graph is at the top, right? And if you use the word like high, I think it's still not precise. You may use the word like at the peak, right? So that's better. Your vocab can show that you have more English ability. But if you want to get 8, you use vocab fluently, flexibly to convey precise meaning. Alright, so make sure your vocabulary is academic and direct to the meaning. Alright? And how about this? This is grammatical range and accuracy. If you want to get 7, you must use variety of complex structures. There are many types of structures, right? Such as simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and if you use a mixture of them, you will get 7. If you write with only simple sentences, it's like children, it's like a child's writing, right? Okay, and use a wide range of structure here. Error free, there's no error with the sentence. You must make sure that there is subject verb agreement, right? And a lot of correct tense. If it go back to time, use past tense. In the future, use future tense, something like that. Okay, so mainly this one about accuracy and grammar. There are 4 sections that you will be graded. This is for task 1. Okay, there are 2 tasks. If you look at the sheets that I gave you, the handouts, task 1 is here, right? On this side, and task 2 is on another side. This is just example, okay? So let me ask you, who feels very confident that you can write something like this? Who has experience writing description for graph or for table? Do you have experience? Okay, yeah, some of you have, because you plan to take a test. Now, this is the template, overview template. You can see here that paragraph 1 introduce the visual, tells what is this graph about, what is this visual is. It is about 1 or 2 sentences. And number 2, summarize the visual. In this case, you may have to look at the whole picture and then try to write from your summarization, from your conclusion, what it is, what is the trend. And after that, you use the data and details to highlight key feature of the visual here. You may compare or describe something that is interesting, something outstanding for paragraph 3. And for the last part, this is optional. You may not need to do it, but I think a few sentences to conclude may be helping you with the point. Now, this is task 2. For task 2, you will have to write an essay. The number of words is about 250 words, and the criteria used to evaluate looks similar to task 1, but here it's not called task achievement, it is called task response. task response in this case. You address all parts of the task. Address all parts of the task means that if there are 2 questions, you have to answer 2 questions, not only write about one thing. All right? Clear position throughout the response. For example, if the prompt or the direction asks you to think bad thing and good thing, do you like bad thing or do you like the good thing of this? And you must make sure that you choose one. Or if you choose 2, you must present argument enough, sufficiently. Otherwise, it means that you don't have enough content. Okay, your content may be too short. And if you aim to have higher score, you read these criteria. For coherence and cohesion, it is similar to task 1. Lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, they are similar. So I think you can get online and then study more. In this case, I just introduced you. Okay. And what are some type of topics that will be covered when you write the essay for IELTS? You can see that there are too many topics, right? And I mean, all of this is too much. However, I recommend you combine this. Sometimes education is about society, it's about culture too. And even like family can be included in culture and society, right? Entertainment can be included in communication, so they can be grouped together. And you learn, I think there are a lot of resources that can show how to write about sports, how to write about space, how to write about science and technology. I was lucky when I went to study in the United States. I had to take TOEFL test many times, okay, because my English was not that good at that time. And when I took many times, I read a lot of essay in the test, a lot of passages, and I learned a lot about these topics. So not only helping me to get good score, but give me knowledge. And then I use that knowledge to write when I see these topics, right? So a lot of time it comes from our reading. And if we divide the type of prompts or type of question, it will be in these groups. Okay, we belong to typically here. So they ask you for your opinion, agree or disagree. For example, the question says that nowadays people don't need a bachelor degree in order to work. Do you agree or disagree? And then you choose. If you choose both, maybe it's too much for you. You have only 40 minutes. If you choose one side, I think you can save time. Brainstorm only about disagreement or brainstorm about agreement. And talk about advantages or disadvantages of something. Problem and solution. Have you ever written a problem solution essay? For example, like pollution in Bangkok. There are a lot of PM 2.5 dust. How can we solve this problem? So we will write about problem first, and then we suggest some solution to that. Sometimes it asks you to discuss. The example of the essay that I gave you, it asks you to discuss. Okay? So it says that some people think that it is parents who are responsible for teaching children to be good members of society. However, some people believe that it is the responsibility of schools and teachers. Whose responsibility do you believe it is? You need to discuss. If you think it is the responsibility of parents, maybe it doesn't cover, right? Because children, when they grow up, they need to go to school. So parents may not be available to look after every minute. That's why we may have to say first that parents and teachers are very important. And then the second paragraph says, parents take care when children are still very young. And when children go to school or become teenagers, teachers have the major responsibility, something like that. Okay, so it has good ideas and good content, and this band of essay worth about 9. 9 is total score. All right, you can read carefully and see the way that they use words. A lot of words are very, very academic and look like a native speaker writing. And how about the two-part question? The two-part question require you to read carefully. Okay, I will not explain this. You can find this on the internet. In education and employment, some people work harder than others. Why do some people work harder? Is it always a good thing to work hard? If you choose to write only about this question, it's not enough. You may get only half. You have to address this question too. Why? And then you tell a few reasons. After that, you give your opinion. You think it's good or bad. Okay, so this is called the two-part question. You must be very careful. And this is the example. In the paper base, you will see one page that looks like this, and then you will get the answer sheet. Okay, I think I will just read here. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, you should choose one side to save time. And then give reason for your answer and include any relevant examples from your knowledge and experience. You must brainstorm, right? You read about car, right? Transport. And then think from your background, from your schemata, and then write at least 200 words. I think you can write down, you can use this as a scratch paper, but you cannot take them out of the room. You must submit. And this is the outline or the structure. We know that there are a few paragraphs, like 4 to 5 paragraphs, but we must make sure that you don't miss any other things here. Sentence 1 of paragraph 1, sentence 2 of paragraph 2, sentence 3 of paragraph 3. It has function. Okay? Every word, every sentence that you write down, it should have sense. Okay? It should make sense. You cannot just waste space or waste lines. And sentence 1, a paraphrase of question. Sentence 2, thesis statement. Sentence 3, outline sentence. This may talk. Okay, if you take a look at the example, I highlight the sentence. In this essay, the role of parents and teachers in teaching children will be discussed, right? So that should be the outline of the sentence. And make sure that you do repeat this, but this one should be idea 1 and then idea 2 and then support. Finally you conclude. For the conclusion, you can summarize main points, you can paraphrase each of the thesis statement, and then you leave a final thoughts. You leave some ideas for the reader to think a little bit. But if you don't have ideas, you don't have to, you just summarize the content here. Okay, so far so good, right? My English is not too difficult to understand, right? I know my accent is very Thai, but I think that is my nature. Okay, I don't want to speak with too much of accent because it will be very tired. Okay, so I think I will speak like with a relaxed tone here. And if you take the CDT stand for Computer Deliver Test. After you do listening, you do reading, you will reach this part. And task 1, read the table, think about the table and then write. But you have to type in English. You don't have problem typing, right? You can type in English very fast, right? 150 words here. You should not write less than 150 words because you will be penalized, your score will be deducted. And if you cannot finish, this part will be stopped. The screen will be will be not workable. So you must be very fast. And here, task number 2. This is the example. Maybe we cannot read it, but the content or the length should be as many as this. This one is like 350 something. But you don't have to write 350, you write only 250. Okay. You can write more, but not too long, okay? So this is computer based, and when you click it, I think it will send to the grader or the reader somewhere. However, if you choose the paper based, you will get this answer sheets. You will have to write your names, write your number that you got, test date. And then you start task 1 here. Make sure that you have beautiful handwriting. Okay? If not beautiful, but just readable. Okay? If it's too ugly, you will not be graded. Okay? You can see here. Examiner 2, Examiner 1, there are 2 persons who will read your test. TA, task achievement, how many points? CC, how many points? Is it cohesive? Do you use markers, connector? If you don't use, maybe you get very low here. Okay. Grammar. And if it is under length means it's too short. The reader will write number of words and then deduct your point. Maybe like 0.5 or 1. Okay. And if your writing is off the topic, you didn't answer the question, maybe it will not be graded. Okay. And if you seem to write from your memory. Okay, for example, I give you this example, right? You didn't read the question. You just write what you remember from here. And then maybe the reader will not read because it looks like you didn't do according to the direction. And this one, as I said, if your handwriting is too bad, it will be marked illegible, unreadable. Okay, and it happens a lot because people they are very hurried, right? They worried about time and they don't write very beautifully. That can cost you the score. And this is task 2, which is similar to task 1, and the way that they grade is the same thing here. Okay, that's all about writing in IELTS introduction. So, you have any questions so far? You can speak Thai ถามภาษาไทยได้ครับถ้ามีความสงสัยเกี่ยวกับการสอบตรงนี้